Hi, it's Coach Jackie here to talk to you about my um, sort of a very unique twist, if you will, on helping the seller get their home ready for sale. Staging, maybe a word you want to use for this. But one of the things that I found over the years was that I was sort of giving away the farm to sellers because we go through on our initial tour of the property. And before we even have the listing, we tell them the things that need done in their home. And we notice this, we notice that, we notice the other. A couple things happen with that. Number one, sometimes sellers get upset that we found fault with their home, and therefore they don't like us because we found fault with their home. So they don't list with us. The second thing that I found that can happen is that we end up telling them everything they need to do, in which case they feel they don't need us anymore. And then they will go list with maybe a limited service broker who doesn't do all that kind of work, but we've already told them everything they need. So they'll go save commission and do it somewhere else. Either way, I kind of lose. And here I did all this work. So what I learned to do was sort of stage this whole thing. And when I say that, I will be going around the house, looking at the house with the seller on the initial tour, and maybe find one thing. I always use the example of a downspout. I'm outside and there's a downspout. Northwest corner of the house, there's a downspout that is not connected to the gutter. So it's kind of hanging down here, and the water runs down the hole, then runs down the outside for the most part of that pipe thing or that downspout, and then makes a puddle on the ground, and it's all rusty. So I will pick out like one obvious thing like that and say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm noticing that downspout's not connected to the gutter. It's creating a puddle down here and some rust issues. Were you aware of that? In most cases they are, but not always. And I'll say, well, now the reason I'm bringing that to your attention is this. One of my jobs, when we decide we're working together and I am the agent to get your home sold, when I know that, then what I will be doing is going around your home, room by room with you, around the outside of your home to do what I call my maximize value, minimize objection tour. Because one of my jobs is truly to help you maximize the value of your home and minimize the predictable objections that buyers and or their inspectors or parents will have. I'm not a contractor. I'm not an inspector. Don't pretend to be. But I've got a pretty good eye for predictable things that will be picked on. And the reason that's important, let's take this downspout, for example. That downspout, if you are handy on your own and have time, you could connect that downspout back together for free. And maybe it'll cost you, I don't know, $4 or $5 at the hardware store for navel jelly to get the rust off. I don't know. But it won't, it'll be nearly free for you to get that fixed. If you're not handy and you don't have time, you just don't want to do it, I have got a list of handymen. That job, I'm guessing $50 to $75 to get done. Now, here's why it's important that we talk about those things, and you might want to get them done before the house is being shown. Because I can guarantee you, let's say that a buyer comes in, loves your house, makes you an offer, you and the buyer agree on the offer. And we now have a contract, a signed agreement with this buyer. The buyers today inspect houses. We encourage them to do that so that the buyer goes into the purchase with their eyes wide open, and that you don't get caught after the fact with the buyer accusing you of not telling them something. So we want inspections to happen. The buyer's inspector will come in, look around the outside of the house, look room by room, they'll look in the attic, they'll look at the furnace, they'll look at everything. Well, I can guarantee you that an inspector would not miss that downspout. They'll see it. They'll write it down on the report, which begins to scare the buyers. And a couple of things happen when inspectors find things wrong with a house. Number one, the buyer will get afraid because they found something wrong with the house. And they'll wonder, gosh, if they didn't tell me that, what else didn't they tell me? Or if they didn't take care of that, what else did they not take care of? Is there deferred maintenance? They get scared. And sometimes these buyers walk just because of something that's seemingly insignificant. They walk and the inspection clause allows them to walk away, and now we lost a buyer. If they don't walk away, then usually they will come back, ask for it to be fixed by their contractor, or ask for monetary compensation. My experience is that buyers rarely come in looking for compensation for less than $500 to $1,000, no matter how insignificant the repair seems. It just seems like those are their numbers, $500 to $1,000. So what you could get fixed for free or have a handyman do for $50 to $75, if it's not done before the buyer sees the house, could literally lose a buyer or lose a lot more than it would have cost you in the beginning to do. And that's why I mean maximize value, minimize predictable objections. That's why I do this tour with you. I may not catch everything. Again, I'm not a contractor inspector, but I do try to help you do that. So once we are absolutely working together, I will do my maximize value, minimize objection tour for you. In fact, I have a booklet. I've got a sample in my briefcase that's for someone else, but I'll be making one for you. And you'll see that it is 8 pages of how to go around your home and actually maximize the value of your home and minimize predictable objections. So I'll do it with you, and then I will have a customized booklet for you that you can go around and do things on your own. Now, out of role play with the seller, it's a hook. It's literally a hook. If they don't list with me, they don't get this book. And they'll look at the book and they'll want it. They'll go, can I have that? Well, your book already has a picture of another house and another seller's name on it. And you'll say, well, you can see that this is for Mr. and Mrs. McIntyre. But certainly, as soon as we've listed the home, you will get your copy customized for you. And all that means is it'll be customized with a picture of their house and their name on it. The rest of it is all the same. So I've got that book. It's part of all my pricing and listing forms books. It's great. People love it. And so now all of a sudden you don't have to give away the farm. Give away the form. Don't give away the farm. So I hope that helped. You know what? We work really hard. We don't want to give everything away until we know that we are actually the listing agent. So good luck with that.